Hello and welcome to Only Stupid Answers. My name is Sam Basher.
And I'm DJ Woldridge.
And today we're reviewing the finale for Season 3 of Young Justice.
Whether you like it or not.
Buckle up, boys and girls. Young Justice Outsiders, boy howdy.
Yeah.
Started really strong. Mm-hmm. I'd say it wavered a little bit.
A little bit.
I think it got a little distracted.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it has a lot going on all the time.
I think, though, this finale did a good job of kind of rounding out a majority of the storylines they started. And I'm excited for the future. But we have 3 episodes to get through, so let's go ahead and hop into it. We're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about it as one big episode, just so you know. We're talking about Into the Breach, Overwhelmed, and Nevermore. So kicking it off, we know that in the last episode, the team, the Outsiders, and the Justice League, they're all...
Well, no, not technically Outsiders.
A good chunk of them.
Yeah.
A good, some of them we knew about, at least Geoforce.
Yeah,
and
so in this episode, the first one of this group, of this packet, if you will, we've got Beast Boy and Cyborg, and the rest of the crew go to investigate Brainy Goodness.
Yes, while the other ones are taken over by the anti-life equation.
Yes, because there are 2 Brainy Goodnesses.
Yes, which
particularly
was cool.
I think for this episode to happen. That's why that's a thing.
It was super yucky when they went back together. And I'm like, oh, that's where the budget for the animation went. It was these last 3 episodes. It was awesome. And it was cool getting them. I like seeing the team work as a team and all their powers working in tandem. We end up breaking into the Good World Studios, which is, it is weird sometimes when studios make fun of themselves inside of their own properties. It's like, oh, they're run by space demons. And they're like, but not the real one.
Don't you worry about
they denied it. They denied it. Yes, it was, and it was cool having them thrown into the X pit. And I liked when we had El Dorado come in trying to teleport him out of there. And it's like, oh god, this is genuinely hell. This is all hell. And we get Beast Boy versus Brainy Goodness, and it went exactly as I thought it was going to, and badly.
Yeah, not great for Beast Boy.
Even when he went otherworldly with like his he did like the Martian animal, and he tried a couple other ones.
That's where that animal was. I knew it.
Wait, that was what. That was like Malafa'ak. That's the one they talked about, like the red Martians were, or green Martians are scared of whatever that is. Yeah. Don't know where he saw it and learned it, but doesn't matter because it looked super cool when he did it. Also, I mean, Gorilla's good, Rhino's good. It's fun when he gets to try other ones. Yes. Snake was a very bad choice.
Yeah. Yeah, and since we've been watching a lot more anime on patreon.com/onlystupidanswers, that classic, like where every time somebody gets hit, blood shoots out, and it's like, where are you keeping it all? What is this?
It just moves around.
Yeah, and I also like that this is actually a pretty cool episode for the classic Teen Titans characters, because you also get Cyborg versus Overlord, which is not something I thought I was going to care about, but I sure did.
It was very cool.
It is weird that every time they're like, we're in the cyberspace. It's like, all right.
Yeah, I'm inside of your phone, your computer.
But I did like, because Overlord has kind of like weirdly become a standout in the past few episodes. This was cool, and it's a cool use of Vic, and it's cool having him like embrace his abilities. And also in the last episode we get to see him without the hoodie, and it's like a cool like hodgepodge design. It's cool. It's a cool design for Cyborg.
By the way, everyone asked this. I think we said it in a previous episode. They're like, who's Overlord? I can't find any info on him. Neither can we. It is a very niche character, which this show does a good job taking those characters and making them bigger and more important than they sometimes are in comics, or making them more interesting. Yeah. Like Geoforce and Halo. Let's be honest. You might be big fans of the classic ones from the Outsiders from the 80s. You might be.
Probably not.
But right now, these versions, I'm a big fan of. I like all of them, but we'll get more to that with some decisions these characters make. Yes, Cyborg is a very cool moment in the cyberspace, because it's, again, I agree with you where it's like, it's all imaginary, so it kind of doesn't matter what's happening here, but it does allow for a little bit of violence, because it's like, hey, this is DC Universe. This ain't your mom's
DC Universe
cartoon. This is for big boys and girls. So, and I really like him embracing his role and who he is. Also, the fact that him and Halo got to take down Granny Goodness, and again, Granny merging back together. Super duper gross. Yeah. Big gross.
Big gross, but it was cool that they, it's also weird that Granny was kind of the big bad of the season. At least the one we got to take down, essentially. But yeah, it was cool that it came down to Cyborg and Halo, and the way they saved the day was really cool. And this felt like the finale to me. I was like, well, there's 2 more episodes? Why?
Yeah, it did feel like we still had some other stuff to like, when I was watching this, because the way we get the episodes is incrementally. This came out first, and I was like, oh, we're just not dealing with the Markovia stuff, I guess. Guess that doesn't matter. And we do get to that. But this had a nice button on it for all the spacefaring adventures. They even talk about, like, they even mentioned that, like, oh, Vandal Savage sent us. So I'm like, okay, we should deal with that at the very least in this season, right? And we end up getting to that. In the next episode, we kind of, the story gets smaller, and we get to Artemis reaching out to Zatanna and her gal pals to see if they can reach beyond the grave to talk to Wally. I knew he was coming back. I knew. It wasn't what I thought, but he did come back, and it was adult Wally. It wasn't young Wally like we got in the previous episode to these three. And she wants to talk to Wally one last time before she goes on her date with another redhead.
She does have a type. Yeah, so Will, who was Roy, but is not.
Who was the Roy who betrayed the Justice League. Yeah. I had to remember, like,
hey, what's happening? Anyway, so they've been building some tension between the two of them, and they finally kiss, and then Artemis freaks out, and that's when she reaches out to Zatanna, and then lives kind of a life with Wally, where they have a kid that they do not know the gender or the name of. It reminded me of Legion when she's like flipping the baby and it doesn't have a face.
Shout out! That was a good get, Legion. That one made me scared. But in this Mindscape, they did do a similar thing, like you mentioned when they said, like, "What's the baby's name? What's the gender?" Like, well, it's 2019. We don't have to pick right now. Exactly. And it's like that. They didn't pull one of those. It's like, because that's, for this situation, not helpful. But no, I like that they kind of leaned into that mentality. Also, I love that they did not say that this was actually Wally. They made it very clear up front, and they're like, I said what I needed to say, and she needed to see what she needed to see. So that she can move on, which is nice, but also, didn't you, Megan, you just got in a fight with your fiance about this problem.
This particular issue. And that was the weird thing to me, because Zatanna says, like, hey, it's limbo, so it's what your mind projects. And then the show goes out of its way to be, but also this was a manipulation of her friends. I was like, but why? She could have just been what Zatanna, on a writing standpoint, based on what Megan's going through, it could have just been what Zatanna said it was. The end.
Could have been, but instead everyone's just a little bit of a dick. Just like a little bit, but at the same time, the emotional stakes in that scene were really sweet. It was and musically, the way that they used the score I felt the emotional weight of the scene, and it felt, not that hasn't been in the season. There's been a lot of tension, and it was nice that we got to switch the tone for just a second, and have it be about this specific person's feelings towards another person and moving on in grief. And also with, like, Will, she comes back, it's like, hey, we probably messed up, right? Like, that was just goofy, and he's like, for sure, I'm just a single dad. I'm here with a baby all the time. This is definitely me goofing on you.
This wasn't me trying to create a genuine emotional connection with you. I mean, whatever.
No, he, I like that they have the sister-in-law, brother-in-law relationship, which is probably good that you guys don't. It's just complicated. Yeah,
but it's already complicated.
It is. So let's just lean into it.
I think you could have made out. I feel bad for Will.
I do
also, because I don't really know what Artemis learned there that made her decide that. It felt more like closure with Wally, not like, never mind, this isn't going to work either.
Maybe she was like, hey, you were just a stand-in for a different redhead.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Good point.
But also, the door's left open for Wally coming back in some way or another. Like, we got a tease for season 4 in
Always got to come back so he
can
accidentally murder half the team.
That's got to happen.
That's got to happen.
They've done the fans everything from the comics.
I will also, we do get a little bit of Bug and Superboy, because Bug doesn't fit in. Yeah. And so apparently this is this whole town of aliens. This feels like a Supergirl plot. The whole town of aliens that are in hiding.
Geranium City.
Yeah, Geranium City, which was fun. It was cool. It's like, this was another moment in the show, like, oh, my pals from Cadmus, you remember da-da-da and da-da-da. It's like,
I mean, I remember the image of them.
Yeah, I remember their
when they were like, yes, this is Craig and Susan. They're married. This is their kid. And I'm like,
this is my longest friend ever. And the little guy comes up and I'm like, yeah.
You mean the demon little monkey that was whispering knowledge into your brain? I guess. Sure. You know him more intimately than most people, I guess.
There's also the one moment where, like, so Bug's learning to accept himself, and then the leader of Geranium City is like, but what about you, Connor? What are you going to do? What have you done for us lately? I was like, I don't know what's happening right now. And then in the next episode, we're like, oh, this is what's happening.
Yeah, and also, while it did feel like, all right, hold on, we're talking about Bug.
Yeah, come on.
Fred Bug. with
Yeah,
two
I
Gs.
look like Superman. I'm doing okay.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's like I like the criticism. I'm like, you haven't lived a life, just full stop. You haven't whatsoever. You actively hide from the public, and you don't have. Maybe I think it was a little unfair being like, you're supposed to be the spokesperson for all of us. I'm like, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
sure,
get
but
it, yeah.
you're right that I should say something and I should be a voice for good. Also, yeah, it would be a really good. You'd stick it to Lex Luthor really fast if you spoke out and said who you were.
Yeah.
So that was pretty cool. And also on top of this, we get Cyborg and Halo being taken away to talk to their
Granddad.
Granddad. Because in between, their parents are
The mother boxes.
Darkseid and Highfather.
Sure.
Probably.
Yeah,
I don't know.
probably.
Who knows? But hey, I did.
Metron's a real creep. I do love this design though.
I do too, and I like them talking with the pings.
Yeah.
Their pings are cool. In the comics, sometimes it's a little hard for me to imagine what that sound is, and in this, it is pretty cool.
Also, I like just the giant skull floating in the background. I'm like, where are they?
I like that the location was like, we don't know.
Yeah.
Metron may have just killed a giant monster. We don't know.
Just to bring them here.
And it was cool to be like, yeah, we are leading to a big Darkseid fight. I did like that as the season progressed, I'm like, okay, we're learning about new gods. It's creating a contingency for them, which is Halo and Cyborg. They feel fully realized as characters and who they are and what their powers are.
Yeah.
So leading into the final season, making Darkseid like the be-all, end-all threat, pretty cool.
Especially since we haven't heard him talk yet. I will say it's weird. I don't know about you, but sometimes it feels a little bit weird, like especially in this last episode when like Vandal Savage is like, they set a big drama between him and Darkseid. It's like, oh, we rattled sabers, but then we high-fived and we're fine. It makes Vandal Savage feel way cooler and like a way bigger threat. It makes Darkseid feel like a little bit less. It's like that he cares what Vandal Savage thinks and all that stuff makes Darkseid feel a little less like all-encompassing threat.
I think,
little bit.
I think it would have done a little bit more if. I mean, also it's kind of a threat. Like when we get the Vandal Savage episode, it's talking about how he's immortal.
Yeah.
Darkseid can't really, as far as we know, really do anything to him. He's not as powerful as Darkseid, but he's always going to be there.
Yeah.
And so you kind of, have to make your
Darkseid's
peace.
eyes lasers are pretty brutal.
They are.
I guess I kind of wish, like, because just the way I perceive Darkseid, we've just been, again, patreon.com/answers, watching One Punch Man, and I kind of, after all the buildup of Vandal Savage, it'd be kind of cool if Darkseid was like, nah, and he flicks him, and it's like a One Punch Man moment, and just Vandal Savage is just paced, and you're like, oh no.
And maybe he could.
Yeah.
Maybe he could. We don't know. But right now, maybe there still is something beneficial for him, which by the end of the season, we still see that there is a deal in place that is beneficial to Darkseid. So I'm like, okay, you're right. I get it. But also, I wish we saw the scene because all of Vandal Savage's stuff, when we learn more about him, that was super cool. So
hopefully we get a Darkseid episode like that next season where it's like, Darkseid's been around,
but also
now we get to know who he is.
We still didn't see in his episode how he talked to Darkseid. It was just in a sentence we heard they made a deal. Yeah. And it's like, well, what kind of deal? Like, how did you convince literally a space god to listen to you whatsoever? Like, it kind of doesn't matter. So, and I'm bummed we missed that out on that in this. But as we lead into the final episode, we get the Markovia storyline wrapped up tight, but maybe not the way that we wanted.
Yeah, because we find out that Terra has been brainwashed. In a way. I actually really like the way that they remixed the classic Judas contract thing, but it turns out Geoforce is the one we need to look out for. But I like going into what they did with Tara. I like that having her mission is to kill Beast Boy. It's like, cool. All the Judas contract pieces are here, even though it's not that story. Mm-hmm. So it's just a cool way. Like, it's a smart way of like moving the pieces around the board in unique ways.
Yeah, no, he is the face of the Outsiders.
Yeah.
It would be a huge blow if you got rid of him. And also, I understand more why she would do it. Like, she was betrayed by everyone. The only person that's ever helped her is Deathstroke, and basically turned her into a weapon. Yeah. And she did 100% murder someone. Like, they
mentioned that there's been a lot of episodes.
Like episode 3. Like, go way back. It's when they start looking for her, and she drops a boulder on someone and smushes them. Cool. So she's done that. Like, she lied, and this is bad. And also, I understand Geoforce being upset about that because literally everyone's lied to him to this point. Like, you already have an anger problem. Mm-hmm. Everything's been taken away from you, and the only other person that like is your lifeline lied to you and is a murderer. Like, that's a big rut-row. And I do like Bedlam. I like his design. I like that he's all stone. I liked him in a fight. I like that when they started breaking down the mask, it was a sheet of rock. He didn't just become that.
Yep.
Because I thought it went the other way around. Because I thought when he first appeared and you see the rock form, I thought he got punched in the face, skin fell off, and it was rock. Yeah, man, I'll have to revisit because when he
20 plus episodes of like dense stuff, I don't remember. Yeah,
but he is cool, and that's the coolest that character has ever been in anything. So.
Yeah, and same for Geoforce. Never once cared about Geoforce, but pretty cool here. I liked that they already knew about, because the villains on the show always get actually this was our plan the whole time. It was cool that heroes are like, oh no, we knew. Yeah, we knew that because Batman read Deathstroke's micro expressions.
Yeah, it's like, oh wait, he's lying. Yeah. Wait, Tara's been brainwashed. Wait, hold on. It's like, what are you? What? You didn't use? Wait, hold on. You didn't use a computer to read those? Batman just looked at his face like, oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Hold on, I got this.
Wait, hold on. Let me look at you. I got your phone number. It's like, wait, how? Wait, how did you do that?
But I like that they knew, and I liked the argument this episode especially. Leaned a lot into some of the shows been doing this season of like when they're trying to explain to Cyborg like you have no obligation to join this thing. It's like we know. Like I'm glad we're leaning into like the consent aspect of this, but it's like we know. Like we know the bit. But I liked with this that they gave Tara like, hey, we knew and we just wanted to give you the shot to make the choice. I don't know if in the real world that reasoning tracks, because if they were wrong, she'd murder somebody. But like I like that, and I like that she makes the right choice. And I liked the setup where like you said, everything's been taken away from Geoforce, and he acts out because he's in a very high stress situation. He's in a position of power in multiple facets. And that leads to my only real nitpick of this episode. Something I really didn't like. I didn't like the reveal that Glasses guy is part of the light, was manipulating him with psychic powers, and was part of this plan. It's like, the light can't have a contingent for everything, for crying out loud.
Of course they do.
Come on.
So my criticism was that in the previous episode, when you have his brother going on air and talking about like, we're so close to getting my brother to come home, so close. And it's like, and there's a lot of bureaucratic stuff that you need to do, and you're like, yeah, that sucks. But if you make a big move and break international law and decrees you've made, then you lose a lot of credibility. So you need to take steps and you need to be careful. And you get to see that Geoforce is patient now. Yeah. And I like that. But that being said, in that scene, when he decides to kill Bedlam, you see that he's kind of unstoppable. Like where's Superman? At this point, it's like, I don't think he'd be the biggest threat against like a character like that. Yeah. But I did like that. We've seen him be a hothead. We've seen him grow and be patient, but sometimes people mess up.
Yeah, and especially like after you found out you're facing your parents' murder, you found out your sister betrayed you, you found out your friends betrayed you, and you've got the nation you've been wanting to come back to for all year being like, hey, do this. You might just do it, and you don't need psychic manipulation to do that.
What I'd like, though, with the introduction of, or just learning about, they're like, oh, and Dr. X, we got him. I'm like, don't remember who that is. Yeah. I know he helped Brion become Geoforce, whatever, but I'm like, I don't know why he's a threat over other people. Anyways, I like that character is now next to Brion all the time. I think maybe if the decision to kill Bedlam was Geoforce's, but now he's a threat being installed and he can kind of sway Geoforce to make decisions that he normally wouldn't. Yeah. I like that idea. And also, it's not like Simon. It's not like someone who can like fully manipulate you and see things you're not supposed to. It's like, no, but when you have a bad idea, he can kind of nudge it that way. I like that character is there. Now that Dr. Jace is there, that Markovia, like in the comics, is now a place that kind of produces meta teens in a bad, well, one, you shouldn't be doing that. And like, but now it's kind of like a resource for the light, but Geoforce might not know to what extent. I liked it. I don't know where I stand specifically when it comes to the choosing to kill Bedlam being the psychic's decision or Geoforce's. I think I'd rather it be Geoforce's, and he messed up. Yeah, he made a mistake. Yeah. Like we've seen most people on the show making a mistake all season. The Lights made mistakes. Batman Inc. or any of the 7 other teams have made mistakes. Also, I thought, by the way, they throw a nod to Waller talking about putting bombs in their brains. I thought they may have accidentally put one in Tara, and I thought she was about to die on screen. I'm like, I'm glad that didn't happen. I'm glad that in this, she gets to be a hero and be a part of the Justice League or the team or whatever is the future. I like that they kind of sacrificed Geoforce, a character that isn't as important. They made him extremely important in a show like this. I like that maybe he's a threat in the future. He could have his own meta army because of Dr. Jace. And season 4 looks like it's going to be a blast from the past and the future. So we get a tease. I called it last week. I mean, there's only so many other teams they could do. We're getting the Legion of Superheroes, which is pretty cool. And the Light is still a big threat with Darkseid. We don't know what that's going to be. And Wally has to come back. Wally has to.
I think he got it. I think he got it last episode. But we also get Black Lightning is instituted as... is he the head of the Young Justice team or the Justice League? Because Wonder Woman, everything comes out. Nightwing and Aqualad and everybody... Aquaman, excuse me. Address everybody. And they explain what was happening. And Wonder Woman... leaves as co-chair and Megan steps down as head of the team, which is, I guess, what we're calling Young Justice. Yeah.
It's like you got the Navy SEALs, and then you got like SEAL Team 6. Like that's their... Wally was on the covert team, which is... We've known this for years, but it's thinking about it in those contexts, what it is. It seems silly. Anyways.
Yeah, so is Black Lightning head of the Justice League or the Young Team or yes and? Okay.
I couldn't tell either.
Okay,
but or the Outsiders too, maybe.
Yeah.
But I like that maybe we still get a younger team like the Outsiders that represent something that anyone can be super, and maybe we still have a covert team. Maybe we have Black Lightning being the head of the Justice League, or maybe you have de facto heads for all that, like Beast Boy, maybe like a Superman's the head or Batman or something, and then you have the head of the team. But Black Lightning is the point person for literally all of them. He is the one that makes the call.
I like that I like that he was the person because it makes sense from what we've set up in this season. And I also like that we finally got to kick Lex Luthor to the curb. Good Lord, from being the head, it's like that was exhausting.
Yeah,
he was so I mean, like he's the villain. He's supposed to get people's way, but it's like, oh, this is too close to real life. I want this to stop.
No, but also that's why Lex Luthor has been a villain for so long that makes sense and works. Like, of course, he's always been like evil businessman that does business deals that are bad, but also he's intelligent. He knows how to manipulate the system to his own ends and to make his needs come to whatever. But like, they had an ace in the hole for what? It's been like 8 years now. Yeah. Someone convinced Connor to go out and say something that, like, he checked my DNA. This is Les Losers.
Yeah, oh, snap.
I have 2 dads. Suck it. People in the South. I don't know.
Whoever would be bothered by that. I kind of hope that Connor gets a more traditional superhero costume now. He's done the T-shirt bit for a minute.
Yeah.
And I like the T-shirt bit, but it's like, it'd be cool that, like, especially now that Young Justice Comics he doesn't need the leather jacket and everything, but maybe a more traditional super suit.
It's like somebody who wears basketball shorts all the time. Yeah. Maybe I need to wear pants.
Yeah. Every once in a while.
Every once in a while. No biggie. You can wear the shirt when you're at home. No problem. But yes, we get a tease of the Legion. So we're going to get time travel shenanigans, which makes me excited.
And we're going to get as many characters as we've already... We're going to double our characters next season.
I hope so. You better do the whole Legion. Yeah. You better not skimp out. I'm a big fan. I don't know which Legion members I would want the most. Like Saturn Girl, you're probably going to get Brainiac 5. Brainiac could be a big villain.
Have we ever seen him on this show? Have they done Brainiac?
Throwing my mind back. I don't think so.
That'd be cool.
If you say comics or video games, we're not talking about that. We're talking about the show. Yeah. I don't think so. Also, I think we could do a big thing for the Lanterns because we saw 3 of them. Guy was a big part of this season, which I did like. I was a big fan of it.
It'd be cool to get like Red Lantern, Sinestro Corps maybe. That'd be cool.
And like also, there's room for a season 5 if we wanted to do like Anti-Monitor because like they still haven't dealt with the Darkseid stuff. Yeah. That has to be the big threat. Right? That has to be.
Yeah, I think so. I kind of thought we were going to deal with the Light this season, and then it was all going to be Darkseid next season. But nope. Light's still kicking.
Yeah. And I think a version of them will kind of always maybe exist in some form or another. Yeah. I don't know who's going to be a part of it. Also, we didn't really deal with the new gods. Like, we didn't really get...
Brainy Goodness, basically.
That's it. Yeah. And they did kind of confirm that G. Gordon Godfrey is working with Granny in some way, but we still didn't deal with that either. Nope. They do have a lot of plot threads that they haven't really capped off. Hopefully we get some closure for a few of them.
Yeah, I hope this isn't like a Game of Thrones thing where we just keep spinning out. So at a certain point, you got to start closing off loops or else people are going to get pissed at you.
By the way, it did answer one question for us, which I did appreciate.
Yeah.
The little little white thing with a little butt during the credits, and I was like,
this was something I figured every time they cut back to Lobo's severed finger, it's like this is gonna grow into something.
I honestly forgot about it.
Yeah,
I've only been noticing the ones with like where it's been nothing on screen or Wolf, and then I totally forgot they were doing that. I thought when they took out Overlord, that was one of the bits, and I thought that was what Overlord looked like without all the stuff on, and so I was like, that's super confusing. Hopefully we get to that later. Such a good payoff, such a good button on this season. Hilarious.
Not only is it, because I knew it was growing into something, but I didn't expect that, like, it immediately, like, looks around and gives you, like, a Mad magazine, like, meh, and then Lobo immediately steps on it.
And then
it's
fries
so funny.
it. And then
oh, that's right. He's, I guess, because it's part of him, I guess his blood is flammable?
I guess so. Probably. Or he's got magic space something. He's got to get rid of it. Also, I like that they fully like let Lobo be a villain. It's cool when he's on a team. I'm always a fan, but I like that he's a villain. Maybe we get to see him next season as well. I wouldn't be mad about it. But as a season, as a whole, what would you rate it compared to the first 2 seasons and what we've seen so far?
I would give it, I want to say 8.5. That's the way I feel, but that feels a little low.
I almost said that too. I'd say it's like an 8.9. It's like just below a 9. Like it's still really good.
Really good.
When it fires on all cylinders, this show really works. It may have spun out too many things. We didn't even talk about Infinity Inc. Like that exists. That's might be the Everyman Project from 52 where Lex Luthor gives people superpowers.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what that's going to turn into.
Yeah, I think it would benefit the show in the future to maybe close off some aspects, because every season it grows. Now we're talking about the Legion, which is so many characters. Like you got to cut some of the fat. You know what I mean? So just because it's a lot. It's a lot to keep track of.
I'd give it an 8.9, maybe a 9, just depending on the episode. I think we just got a little lost in the weeds, like mid-season. Maybe on rewatch, because I've only watched the first and second season all the way through as a continuous thing, and so maybe this season would work better that way instead of the weekly installments. Even though I did like that, it was a nice little treat, and I appreciate it. Hopefully, you guys watched it and you enjoyed it. So let us know what you thought down below. Titans season 2 is about to get started on DC Universe, so make sure if you're not a part of the subscription service yet. I don't know why you're watching this review, but go download it. There's definitely coupon codes out there you can check out. DC Universe, we'd be happy to have a coupon code.
We would
putting
definitely.
it out there. We're going to be talking about Titans and also Harley Quinn animated series coming out. We got Stargirl, we got Doom Patrol season 2, and we got another season of Young Justice. Super excited to see what they come up with, and maybe we'll get Stargirl.
That'd be cool.
Maybe we can have Stargirl on the show, because we know the person who does the voice for that character. Who knows? Let us know in the comments down below. Subscribe, check out our podcast, look at our anime reviews at patreon.com/onlystupidanswers. And with all the other super shows coming back, we're going to be talking about that at Super TV Showdown. That's on Patreon as well. We'll see you guys next time.